Hello, all. Welcome back. I'm Sabine Priestley, and I am together again with the amazing SΥRΗ. She will be channeling art as I talk about my passions in quantum physics and bioenergetics and expanding consciousness. So, SΥRΗ, why don't you take a minute and say hello and introduce yourself and let people know where they can find you.
Hello, Happy New Year. Thanks for coming and watching this. I'm SΥRΗ, the artist. I'm living in Norway. I am channeling energies from artwork and talks and podcasts and what have you. And right now I am on my new TV channel called The Soul Painter Show in the New Reality TV.com. So that's the easiest way to find me these days.
Perfect. And that's beautiful. I was checking out your episodes and it's just fascinating to watch your work. And your music is beautiful. She's a musician too, by the way, because, she doesn't have enough going on. All right. So today I'm going to talk about trying to keep it into this realm that my research has taken me into recently. So we're going to talk about the fact that we're physical beings. And we're going to talk about the fact that at the same time we're quantum beings. And how expanding consciousness can help us bring all that together so that we can not just know about it intellectually, but make it part of our lives. So that is what's doing today. SΥRΗ, if you want to adjust your camera, we can rock and roll.
My brushes and I are ready.
Perfect.
Is that good for you?
Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so the first topic, of course, is the physical beings, right? We're physical beings. We live in a three-dimensional reality of space and time, and we're governed by those rules to a large extent. The fun thing is once we start learning more about the quantum side of life, we don't have to be governed by those rules, especially where space and time are concerned. Now, this is fascinating. From the quantum perspective, the mathematics, space and time both go away. It's something like 10 to the minus 33 and 10 to the minus 47. That's a really narrow data set for our entire existence when you think about it. So when I came across that information, I started thinking, well, the amount of light spectrum that we can see and perceive and hear is very, very small. Once again, it's a very small piece of this vast expanse of frequencies that we know exist. That got me into quantum physics in a really, really big way. And quantum physics is where Newtonian physics breaks down. This is why they call it spooky action at a distance. Einstein hated it. Niels Bohr, they couldn't make sense of it. This is where we get the phenomena where, collapsing the waveform, if we measure something, we have altered it, and we have changed it, we have set it into place. Lots of this phenomena is going on in the quantum world. We do not have a unified theory. What that means is there is no one theory that can deal with both the macro and the micro. And I find that really fascinating because that's where the fun is. So we all understand the fact that we're physical beings. This is the way we've been conditioned. This is the way we've been taught, trained. This is the way we live our lives. I'm bringing into the equation that we're also quantum beings. At the very fundamental level, we are quantum beings. If you take a look at a cellular structure, and just the cell in isolation, there are things going on in there we still don't understand and we can't explain. But it becomes a lot easier if we remember that we're not in isolation. The quantum world exists everywhere around us, and we are a part of it. The meditations that I do, the classes that I teach, are all geared to getting you to understand that we are quantum beings and to figure out how to play in that space. It's a beautiful, beautiful space to be. And it's interesting. So expanding consciousness comes into this because the energetics that we are employing as we deal with the quantum field is a process of elevation. It's elevation, elevating your energy, bringing us up to higher frequencies, which then allows us to perceive a greater range of what's in our environment. And a big part of this has to do with consciousness, both in a big picture and a small picture. It has to do with our consciousness in terms of, I have to believe it. Nothing is going to happen. I'm not going to have any magic. if I don't believe it. And this is what stops a lot of people. This is going into, quantum physics and crossover with woo-woo, right? This is what energy healers do. This is what they work with, the energy of humans. And there's an increasing, thank goodness, amount of research around the efficacy of things like energy work, like Reiki, like acupuncture. The ancient Eastern medicine have taken energy as part of the whole the entire time. Western medicine separated matter from consciousness. They're like, okay, science, we have the matter and we have the physics. And the church was responsible for consciousness, for people's mental states and attitudes. That was a big mistake. But again, we're bringing it back together these days. So that's the micro of expanding consciousness is you have to have an open mind and you have to believe. You at least have to believe in the possibility that things can happen for you. In the bigger picture, consciousness comes in because we are energy beings. As I said, we are quantum beings. That means we have a biofield I have one that is Sabine. SΥRΗ has one that is SΥRΗ. And when we get together, we always think of it as an intellectual conversation, but it's an energetic one as well. The energy is flowing. My biofield is interacting with her biofield. And all of us that are existing today and past and future, we are interacting with the overall consciousness, the 0-point field, that which is creating everything. And there's some great talks out there right now in physics about people that are starting to understand that we are part of this collective consciousness. And I just want to say, when I say consciousness, I'm not talking about the consciousness that I experience as a person, as a human. It's, yes, I'm conscious, but there's a much larger consciousness that has created everything. And I don't know if our minds could even grok how that works, but it does make sense. So one of the suppositions in this is that Newtonian physics has always told us that matter is primary. We're trying to get to the smallest particle to figure out how we work and what the building blocks are of us. But they're not thinking about, the reason they can't find it is because they took consciousness out of the equation. If you think of consciousness as being primary, excuse me, as being primary, as being that which creates everything, a lot of the quantum physics weirdness starts to make sense because something is dictating what is happening. And there's a whole discussion around free will and will, and I won't get into that today because I want this to be short and sweet and powerful. So with consciousness, you have to trust, you have to believe, you have to very, very least be curious. And why do you want to do this? Because it's the path to bliss. The meditations that I teach are really good at expanding your mind, expanding your consciousness, and elevating your energy. We want to do practices like this, mindful practices like this, so that we can become more and more and more aware now and now and now and now. We're pretty good at being aware of our thoughts, frequently to our detriment. I teach a course on the monkey mind that helps you get control of the monkey mind, make the invisible visible, and flip the script on what's going on up there. So it's not hurting you, it's helping you. So we're expanding consciousness, we're elevating energy so that we can start playing in the quantum field. And that is fun. One of the easiest ways to get started, especially for people that are like on the fence of this, is getting in touch with the energy centers. Like I said, we're in touch with our minds. We know, but we are an energy body. And getting in touch with the energy centers will help you open up your frequency, increase your frequency, expand your consciousness. And this has been a real kick for me. So I got introduced to the energy centers in 2019 by Joe Dispenza, who does 3 series, hour each, plus meditations. And as an engineer, I'm always kind of thinking of, okay, how can we make this really work, but do it a lot faster? I don't think most people have an hour a day for meditation. So when I'm teaching people or coaching them, it's 10 to 15 minutes a day. That's all that you need to do. And it can change your life. So you get to know the energy centers, right? And I've got meditations for that on Insight Timer. They're free. And you get to know your energy centers. And the more you do this, the more incredible it becomes. So I did it for a few years, and I could very quickly tap in. I could feel them. But having continued this process now for over 4 years, I'm in my 5th year, things have started to get real interesting, especially when combined with my research into out-of-body experiences and different consciousness states. So the energy centers have started talking to me. I was laying in bed one morning. I loved that hypnopompic state when you're not awake and you're not quite asleep. It's a powerful time to meditate. So play with that, and maybe you'll play with that in this way. So the energy centers were, I was in bed and I was doing this flow that came. They taught me one of the first ones that I got, which is like flowing it like seagrass from the root up to the crown and down. And that's beautiful. It feels really good. But since then, they brought in multiple things. There's different kind of energy flows that you can do. And as you do this every day, you get to know each one of your energy centers. And just like us, some days, not all of them want to play. Some days they're all like, oh, let's do this. I was doing the flow practice, and then I was elevating my energy, and I was getting higher and higher and higher, and I popped out of my body. And I was hovering over my bed, and I saw my body, my physical body, but I could also see the energy body in there. So I was my light body looking down on my energy body. Not only was that incredible, but the bliss states that we can get in with meditative practices like this, with getting to know our energy body, is incredible. And it's healthy too. So my dear friend, Bruce Lipton, my soul friend, he's taught me a lot about epigenetics. And I do believe that there's cells we know are a product of the environment. You can take cells in petri dishes and put them in different cultures, and those exact same cells will turn into bone or muscle or an organ tissue. It's just the environment. So by doing things like meditating and getting into states of bliss, we are helping our bodies. We are helping them heal. And I believe this 100% too, because before I started this, I was having hip problems. I was getting shots in my knees, both knees a couple times a year. And it was just like, I felt like I was falling apart. It was awful. Fast forward 4 years of daily meditation, and my hips are a little bit wonky sometimes. I haven't had a shot in my knees since 2019. They're so much better. Every now and then something tweaks, and I can usually get to it energetically. It has shifted everything. It has changed my life. And I know that the more that I can hang out in these energetic states of bliss, the healthier I'll be. So I hope this was intriguing for you. I'm taking a look now, and I am just always completely floored by what this woman creates. That is phenomenal. Wow. Oh, I love it. Now, is this two people talking energetically? I can also translate that as playing with the energy body. But I can see the energy coming off of both of them. Oh, SΥRY, unmute yourself, hon.
The physical bodies and the energy bodies. So they mirror each other.
That is gorgeous. Oh my gosh.
Mm.
That is absolutely stunning.
Before you started talking, this begins coming to me. So it's very fascinating. And then you'd start talking, and then I understand my painting in a different level. So thank you for explaining.
Oh, yeah. No, the fact that you can do that so quickly too is just absolutely mind-boggling. Okay. Do you want to show us your face before you go?
Yeah, I can do that.
There you go. There you go. Anything else you want to share?
No, this is basically what I'm doing these days and have been doing for like half a year now, and ever since we began, and before that as well. So time doesn't exist. Like you said, this is going into the bliss and nothing and the meditative state. So listening to you and just being in this painting is brilliant. I wish more people could do it.
I do too. And I think more people can. I think that, the further I go with this, the more I'm understanding is that what we're doing, what you do so effortlessly, is you get into that quantum field, right? You're kind of no one, no thing, nowhere, but you're receiving. and then you turn it into art. I'm so floored by that, impressed by that. So thank you very much for joining me today, and we'll do it again real soon.
Thank you, Sabine.
Cheers. Namaste, everyone.